Today, guys, we're going to be taking a look at Time-Worn Spire and all of the gun rolls we went through. And we went through quite a number of them. I wanted to test out every trait combination, as this is one of my favorite archetypes in the game. Rapid-fire frames. To me, they're one of the best dueling weapons in the game. And when you actually take a look at its time to kill value, rapid fires sit around a 0.8 second TTK. Now, it's not as good as other pulses. Think Messenger with a 0.67, Sacred Providence with 0.73. Sure, there are other pulse rifles and other weapons with better TTK values, but none of them have this level of output. And Time-Worn Spire, with its roll combinations and its ability to manipulate its zoom, can be one of the best pulse rifles in the game. By the way, there are timestamps for everything for the rolls of these weapons as we do go through a number of them, as well as individual testing for each one of them, as I wanted to see what the range damage fall off is. Where is that sweet spot? I mean, that's pretty much what every review comes down to. Where's the sweet spot for range? Where's the sweet spot for zoom, especially when we got scopes involved? There's some subjective data there too on which ones I like the most. So feel free to take advantage of those timestamps. With that being said, today's video is being sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. Oh, I think everyone knows Raid Shadow Legends by now, right? But did you know that it's actually Raid's 2nd anniversary? Raid Shadow Legends has actually become the #1 RPG here in the US with over 70 million downloads. It's actually incredible considering I grew up on turn-based RPG games, and to see them present today gets me kind of choked up, man. Now, some of my favorite things to do in this game, though, is it's just getting that perfect team. Every team is different, too, depending on your build, whether you're playing PvE or PvP. Each champion you spec out with completely changes your team. Now, going on this month, considering that it is Raid's 2-year anniversary, they've got 6 straight weeks of anniversary events and tournaments running from March the 1st all the way through the middle of April. All of them with insane prizes to win. They've even launched their first ever clan versus clan tournament. So for my dedicated Raid players, again, take advantage of this event. Load up on materials. This is the time to do it. Now for my new players, if you check out the link below in our description, or even scan the QR code on your screen, you'll gain access to a free epic champion, Jotun, 100,000 silver, 50 gems, and 3 ancient shards. Hands down, one of the best sign-on bonuses you can get in a free-to-play game, right? Check it out, guys. And again, shout out to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring today's video. Now back to the review. All right, let's talk about Time-Worn Spire. Look, I've got love for rapid fire frames, and I don't know where it began. I think it actually began around the Clever Dragon meta, but like Grass was also kind of meta. And back then we didn't have many options when it came to rapid fire pulse rifles. In Destiny 2, we've got realistically only one option now. Like when we look at rapid fire frames, Outlast, Sunset, Claws of the Wolf. Wait, is Claws still around? I'm pretty sure Claws of the Wolf also got Sunset though. Horror's Lease, also Sunset. But to be perfectly honest with you, even if those guns were present in the game, hands down, Time-Worn Spire takes the cake. It has everything. And I want to start with scopes. These scopes over here, starting with Red Dot Micro, Red Dot 2 MOA, and even your crazy ones like your rifle scopes. These scopes really change the game for you. It boosts that zoom, it boosts that range, and it tacks on more there to the range stat. Whereas all the other rapid fire pulse rifles only had barrel perks. Now I'm going to start with roll number 1 that we checked out today. This was more or less our consistent roll. And we like to do that, right? We like to go consistent, we like to go lethal, and then we like to go crazy. Just batshit wild. This roll came with Clean Shot, which I know it does come with rifle scope, but let me just keep going here. Ricochet rounds for that bump there in stability and range. Quick Draw for that max in handling and immediate draw speed. And the final trait there on Grip, which greatly boosts the stability here, but simultaneously really kills your reload speed. Like, look at that. That's terrible. Now, this weapon also comes with a ranged masterwork, and yes, I am applying a counterbalance mod because the recoil direction on this weapon is 60, which is not necessarily good. So if you throw on a counterbalance mod, it'll put it at 75, which does make the weapon much more vertical. And listen, you got to have that on these rapid fire pulse rifles. Think back to Destiny 1. Counterbalance was an actual trait. We would trade out full-blown traits just to rock counterbalance on Clever Dragon. And that's because these pulse rifles, if you don't have vertical recoil, will completely jump out of your hands. Now let me talk about this roll for just a second. I actually really do like this roll. I know it's a rapid fire pulse rifle, and I think some people might make the association that rapid fire frame equates to maybe a faster handling, smoother handling weapon. Not the case. Intrinsically, you just get slightly faster reload when the mag is empty and deeper ammo reserves. Nothing here is boosting the handling. Matter of fact, when we break down the handling of pulse rifles, rapid fires actually have worse handling than like high impacts, which is kind of nuts. A Messenger is more fluid than a Time-Worn Spire, at least by default. So the point I'm trying to make is we normally associate like high impact weapons being the clunkier, and then the further we go down into lower impacts, we associate associate those archetypes being smoother handling, but that's not the case here with Time Worn Spire. Quick Draw, to me, is the most necessary perk in that trait column, as it made all the difference. It maxed out that handling, it made the weapon snappier, and even though a 0.8 second TTK value is still pretty good, you don't want to be wasting time on a weapon with piss poor handling. Now, Iron Grip was nice. I mean, it really threw the stability up. Again, it reminds me of Clever Dragon. The god roll for Clever was counterbalance trait alongside perfect balance. Y'all remember that? We're essentially replicating the exact same thing here. Now, our second roll was really not that much difference. I just traded out a few things. We went for a more lengthier scope, trading out Clean Shot for now Rifle Scope ST, high caliber rounds for that increase there in flinch, moving target for that bump there in movement speed and target acquisition, and of course Iron Grip, as well as a stability masterwork. Guys, everything here was boosting consistency while maintaining range. And technically speaking, the differences in range, just changing the scopes from Clean Shot to Rifle Scope is pretty tremendous. We're talking a difference of almost 10 meters, maybe even more. This pulse rifle sits somewhere around 47, 48 meters, whereas the previous roll will hit somewhere around that 37, 38 meter mark. And I know the range stats do look similar, but that's the power of zoom. Now, this particular roll, it definitely felt clunkier. Coming from a quick draw Iron Grip roll, I felt like even though moving target is nice, you just didn't have that fluidity. And that was something that I was really missing. Again, this is a rapid fire pulse rifle. You want to be snapping in and out of your sights. You want to be handling well. You want to be able to immediately engage. This is not the kind of weapon type that you're going to sit there and just be aiming down sights, waiting for someone to step in your scope. You want to be able to be as aggressive as possible. Now, it doesn't help that Rifle Scope actually does kill your handling, but I really feel like that could have been offset. I think the scope was fine, and I think these high zoom scopes that do decrease handling can be easily worked around when paired with something that boosts that handling, most notably something like Quick Draw. Our next roll that we played with was kind of more or less the kind of roll you would want for chaining kills. It came with Hit Mark for that increase in range handling, but it does not affect zoom. High caliber round for that flinch subsistence, which allows you to reload a portion of your magazine from the reserves upon getting a kill, as well as Rampage. This was nice for chaining kills, and realistically, this is the only damage dealing trait that you're going to be able to utilize well inside of PvP. One for all, not necessarily. Great trait for PvE, but not necessarily here for PvP. But for 6v6, this roll did perform well. Now, something I want to bring up is actually the comparison between Clean Shot and Hit Mark. Both of these scopes seem almost identical. They're both short range scopes, but notice that Clean Shot actually boosts a little more there in the range, as well as a +1 in zoom. That doesn't look like much, but that's actually a 3 meter difference. We're talking about going from 34 meters using Hit Mark to now 37 meters using Clean Shot. That's the difference there, guys. Little small subtle jumps there in zoom, which really doesn't change the game all that much for you, can make all the difference. And I actually found that Clean Shot was actually a pretty good scope all the way up into that mid-range. Overall, this was a good roll. I enjoyed this roll, but again, the Quick Draw Iron Grip roll seems to be the king still. Now, one final roll that we did look over, and I mainly wanted to see how this roll performed and if the perk Iron Reach was necessary. This one came with the Rifle Scope SSF, which greatly boosts zoom as well as range, although it does hurt your handling. Armor piercing rounds for another bump there in range. Quick Draw for that increase in handling, and Iron Reach. Now, this is this is a very double-edged perk. It gives you a nice bump there in range. Statistically, it is supposed to be a +20 in range and -40 in stability. It's kind of weird. Destiny Item Manager, not sure if it caps it out or something, but it actually says +18 in range and a -36 in stability. Regardless, my stability stat on this particular roll is 18, aka terrible. Now, range-wise, which is why we're using this trait, combined with the scope, we're trying to get the most out of this pulse rifle. What can it reach up to? It was impressive at 49 meters, but is it worth justifying Iron Reach, which does kill your stability? On a rapid-fire pulse rifle, no. There's a lot more variation in the range of your weapon based on the zoom. Think of zoom exponentially throwing your range up, whereas things that actually affect your range stat having a more limited linear effect. Needless to say, Iron Reach really only tacked on an extra 2 meters, which is just not enough to justify the lack of stability there. I would much rather choose a scope, even like your medium zoom scopes, things like Red Dot 2 MOA or Red Dot Micro. Just go with one of those scopes that are boosting your zoom just slightly, a little more there than Clean Shot, but not as much as Rifle Scope. And if you're desperate for range, well, hell, just go with one of the Rifle Scopes. But similar to like Iron Gaze, that big drop off there in stability from Iron Reach, I just wouldn't go with it. There's much better ways to boost your range without killing your stability. Now, that's not to say that that perk isn't good. good. I really think that Iron Reach is going to be great on certain weapons like a shotgun, for instance, right? Like maybe an updated Fell Winners in the future. I know nobody wants to hear this, but something like Iron Reach would be great on a shotty, as having that lack of stability is not that big of a deal. But on a primary weapon, especially a rapid-fire pulse rifle, it was noticeable, and I definitely wouldn't go that route. So guys, overall, these have been really good rolls. I still think the God roll is really just going to come down to quick draw and potentially iron grip with ricochet rounds or high cal. As far as scopes go, that really just depends on you. How comfortable are you with the amount of zoom that you're applying? I know some people that can use rifle scope all day long, and other people find it very difficult to land consistent crits. Again though, the middle ground, the sweet spot to me are the red dot scopes. They're really good. We've seen them on multiple other weapons, and I find them to be very manageable. And if you're looking to just have a pulse rifle that can dominate in that mid-range game, and you're not really planning on taking that pulse rifle to long-range territories, clean shot. Don't overlook it, guys. I know it just applies that +1 in zoom, but 37 meters with decent range stats all day long. Outside of that, guys, this is a very good pulse rifle for both PvP and PvE. And again, for PvE players, Feeding Frenzy, Subsistence with One for All or Rampage, excellent roll. So guys, lock this down. We do not have many rapid-fire pulse rifles in the game. I'm hoping we're going to get an energy version here soon, but they're going to have to be bringing it. Time-worn Spire has everything you would want on a rapid-fire pulse rifle. It's consistent. It's got good base stats. It comes with scopes and allows us to manipulate zoom, as well as a combination of perks that really stabilizes this weapon type. It's excellent. Again, it reminds me more of Clever Dragon than ever before. Well, fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
Slap that like button like your mama told you right.